following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WZWA network, and welcome to our review show here of AEW World's End from the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Uniondale, New York, in front of 10,093 fans. California, co-host Juicy Boy. What's going on, bruh?
Oh man, not a lot. I'll tell you what's going on in my mind is trying to figure out what the fuck they were thinking with this pay-per-view. I'll be honest. That's what's been going on in my mind. So
right, well, as long as it's not Judas in your mind, then that's all that matters, right? Yeah, you walked
terrible
into that
song.
one. You walked into that one, bro. Let me guess, Juicy Boy, once again, you skipped 0 hour.
No, I faithfully got up early and actually sat there with a notepad and pen, dutifully taking notes.
Notepad and pen, for Christ's sake. What year is it, mate? 0 hour. I thought the stage looked cool. There's some positivity.
Yeah.
And some out there may have noticed that we did not do a Ring of Honor Final Battle review late last year. I'm not covering Ring of Honor anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah. The thing is, like, you know, think of each wrestling promotion like an airplane on the radar, you know. And if the airplane's one of those real tiny ones and it's only got one engine and there's only enough room for one person, you know, it might not be big enough to create a blip on the radar. And that's the situation with Ring of Honor right now for us. So
yeah, I just think it's just not important anymore. I mean, last year, well, early last year and tail end of the year before, oh yeah, it was still relevant to me, but now, no, sorry.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on with it here, Juicy Boy. First matchup, 0 hour, Kris Statlander taking on Willow Nightingale. Seemed like a bit of a babyface versus babyface match here. What did you think of this one, bro?
I didn't watch it.
I thought you said you watched
it's a pre-show. I was being sarcastic.
Oh, well, I didn't pick up on that, did I, you little son of a bitch? Well, I
said that I faithfully... Okay.
All right, sorry, I thought you said you got up early. No, it doesn't. So
yeah, I was being sarcastic.
Yeah, well, fuck you. All right. Great. Now we can't monetize the video because I told you fuck you. Okay. Look at these notes here. Did I really need to write this many notes in a pre-show match? Now, okay. This match had the potential to be good, but it's just that I don't think these two had any chemistry. We're starting off with 4 commentators here with Malcolm Bivens. That's his old name. What's his name now?
Oh shit.
Oh, have I got it written down?
Oh man.
Have I got it written down?
Isn't it something?
How have I forgotten his name? I've forgotten his Stokely Hathaway. Fucking
there
hell.
It was. I was thinking in my mind like Sterling, you know, like
no, because that's Mark Sterling. Yeah. Okay.
Stokely Hathaway.
Sorry, everyone. What a debacle this review's been already. Okay, so Stokely's on there with the 3 commentators, and they were actually quite entertaining. Because Stokely kept on talking when Excalibur was trying to say, you know, someone had gone for a pin. So, you know, every time there's a cover, you know, the play-by-play guy goes, and the cover for 1, 2, no, and he kicked out. But he kept on talking over him. So Taz had said to Malcolm, when there's a cover, don't speak. And then Malcolm replied, am I going to get fined too? And then Nigel said, Taz is in charge of that. So that was fun. But look, I've got, you know how like sometimes when we review AEW Juicy Boy, I will do like dive number 1. This was dive number 17. Dive, you know, I didn't count the dives on this show because thankfully it seemed like the dives weren't happening as much in this show. But I've got now, it's called Make It Make Sense, right? So this is the first Make It Make Sense for the AEW review here. Statlander lost the TBS title in a 3-way at the last pay-per-view, as we may remember, and she wasn't pinned to lose the title. Yet she's still never had a rematch. Make it make sense. They're talking about her maybe getting a rematch, and she was never pinned. So okay. Statlander tried to do 3 amigos on Willow, which just did not work out. Here was the thing. Kris Statlander, I don't have a problem with her, but in this match, Kris, stop trying to hit power moves on Willow Nightingale. She's too heavy for you. She screwed up so many moves on her because she kept on trying to pick her up. Willow was great though. I'm a fan of hers. You know, I really think she should go to NXT if she knows what's good for her. She hit a great cannonball, a powerbomb on the ring apron, a drop kick off the second rope. Kris kicked out. Kris missed a 450 splash, then got hit with a huge clothesline, and she kicked out again and again and again. And like, bro, okay. They kept on trying to hit all these moves, and it was just, I was like, this is becoming a disaster. Willow went to give her like a gut wrench powerbomb, the Doctor Bomb, which I believe is a finisher. He does it to a sit down powerbomb. She tried to pick her up, and then like just dropped her. Like, Kris didn't know how to maneuver her body. And I was like, oh my God, okay. So you'd warned me about this show, and I'm like, yep, we're not off to a very good start. And it was over. She managed to hit one properly after fucking it up the first time. Anyway, let's move forward here, because there's 2 other matches here on this fucking pre-show. 20-man battle royal for a TNT title shot. Okay. For whatever reason, Juicy Boy, you know when people like enter a match to be in a battle royal, where do people usually stand when they're entering a match for a battle royal and people are still coming out? Where do they usually stand?
Well, they usually would either stand on the outside if there's too many people, or they would stand off in the corner of the ring out of the way, in my experience.
Okay, well, almost everyone was standing on the outside of the ring. And I'm like, why is this is why, because they had a spot where they all went after Kill Switch and Lance Archer. They were pulling tables and chairs from under the ring and piling them on top of them on the outside. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why would that happen? I'll get to it in a minute. Again, there's no clear idea on who's in Ring of Honor and who's in AEW, because you've got Dalton Castle in this match. You've got all these people, they're all going for a TNT title shot. So again, John Morrison, or Johnny TV as he's known there now, he got eliminated, but he actually never went over the top rope, because the spot that they went for, they screwed it up, and he managed to dump himself to the outside through the second rope. Then he got knocked off the apron, and everyone just tried to pretend that they didn't fuck it up.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Bro, okay. 2 guys went to suplex John Silver. I don't have a problem with John Silver, all right?
Neither do I.
But he reversed it into a double suplex onto the 2 guys who both like fell to the side because he couldn't get them up because he's tiny. Lance Archer and Killswitch, for most of the match, were outside under those tables the whole time. And I'm like, make it make sense. Number 2, they didn't get beaten down that badly to be laying underneath those tables and chairs for most of the match. I don't know whose idea this was, but it was fucking horrible. Lance Archer finally got up and he got into the ring and nobody fed to him. This big reveal, finally Lance Archer's joining the match. You'd think people would feed to him. Clothesline, 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 power move, whatever the fuck. He gets in, he punches one guy and everyone else is like, kind of like on their knees at the side near the ropes, and he's just going up to them and punching them in the head. And I'm like, feed to him. You gotta, this is his moment. He's come out. You're featuring him. What are you doing? You're all pro wrestlers. There's some sloppy stuff with Daddy Magic and Archer, and I'm surprised at some of these guys because some of them are pretty good. Rocky Romero got picked up by Lance Archer in his like reverse outsider's edge move. And Christopher Daniels is just standing there after being eliminated on the outside, just standing there waiting to have this guy thrown on top of him for way too long.
Why? Why wouldn't you just walk away and go to the locker room?
Just let the guy cop the bump. Like,
yeah, you've been thrown out.
I know it was for safety reasons, but don't do it if it doesn't make sense.
Don't do the spot. Don't do the spot because you can't. Like, if Daniels has been eliminated, why wouldn't he just walk backstage?
Yeah,
you know, that's the kind of.
Nobody was trying to throw anybody out because they had spots to do, Juicy Boy. Kill Switch finally comes into the match. You know, the big monster that's kind of like Kane. Kill Switch and Lance dominate as they should.
Wish.
As everyone was tiny in that ring in comparison. Lance got then eliminated by Danhausen and Trent Beretta. And that was the final four. Danhausen, Trent, Lance, and Kill Switch. And I'm like, wouldn't you put it down to Lance and Kill Switch for the big showdown between the two big bastards? Why would you do that? Why feature him like that and need to be eliminated by a comedy wrestler and a guy in a tag team?
Yeah.
Anyway, Danhausen charges at. He's charging at Lance or something like that, but then Trent grabbed him from behind and went to throw him over the top. You know, like when they've just turned to one another kind of thing. Well, when he went to throw him, Danhausen just like ran into the top rope and then tried to like jump himself over the top. And I'm like, fuck, guys, come on. What's going on here?
It's basic shit that you learn very early on in training and shit like that. And
I just expect better from these guys, considering
to be screwing it up on pay-per-view, like the example you gave about John Silver not being able to do the double suplex. You know, you can't fully blame him because where's the post? They're supposed to post and keep themselves in a straight line. Yeah. If they're not keeping themselves relatively in the same trajectory as each other, how's he supposed to control that weight? Of course they're going to crumble.
Yeah,
like that kind of shit. If they aren't capable of doing that, then don't try and do it.
I know.
You know?
Man, okay. And I'm like, why is it coming down to Trent Beretta and Kill Switch? We know Trent's not going to fucking win.
Who would want to see that?
Not me. I'm like, it made no sense that it comes down to these two. Nothing against Trent, but he hasn't exactly been depicted as a guy that could possibly be getting a TNT title shot. Anyway, Kill Switch won. Moving forward.
Good. All right.
Fucking this is the last match of the pre-show. I'm going to get through this one really quickly because it's for the FTW title, which I don't know why it's still being defended, but whatever. It's Hook taking on Wheeler Yuta. Wheeler got on the microphone before the match, bro. And I'm like, who let him fucking touch the microphone? And I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm being very negative here, everyone, but if you saw this, he stumbled over his words trying to run down Long Island. He was trying to say that it wasn't even the best island in New York. And he was trying to say that Staten Island was better, even though Staten Island is full of garbage or whatever it was he said. And I'm like, none of that was clever at all. You sound like a fucking dimwit, mate. You idiot. Don't let him on the microphone. I know people need practice sometimes, but no. Do some live events, get him to practice to the mic at live events or something.
There were people online talking about everything from how stumbly it was to how whiny he sounded and how just babyish he sounded. Like, there were a lot of complaints about that promo.
Yeah, and when, here's the thing, when he was running down Long Island, the fans weren't giving him any heat. They were just like, whatever, like, we think you're a fucking loser.
Because no one cares. No one's scared of him. No one would be worried about getting him upset at them.
Anyway, finally Hook came out. I'm like, I never thought I'd be so happy to see Hook. And then I'm going to try and write 5 nice things about Yuta. So keep that in mind and let's keep a tally if I can get to 5 nice things about Wheeler Yuta. And it appears the FTW title might be a hardcore title now, I think. Which is okay. I don't have a problem with it if it's something different like that. Cool. So Yuta copped a release Northern Lights suplex on the entranceway, and I'm like, dude, it's just the 0-hour match. You don't need to take a bump like that. Hook got hit in the head with a trash can lid that didn't move. So it's like, did you guys not go get like the cheap flimsy bins? Because the lid didn't dent. Yuta got some heat on Hook. I'm like, how does it make sense putting the Ring of Honor Pure champion against the hardcore FTW champion? this is a hardcore match here. The trash cans were too hard. Wheeler got a trap suplex onto one that was on a diagonal in the corner, and it barely dented. He could have broke his neck. Hook grabbed a hockey stick from under the ring, then like swept Wheeler's leg underneath the bottom rope, and the hockey stick snapped in half. It's a sign of things to come on this show, bro. Oh my god, so many things like this happen. This is so like WCW, because that sometimes shit like this would happen all the time with WCW back in the day. You'd be like, oh, why is every time they try and do something clever like that, it always fucks up? Well, this show, fucking insurmountable. He's smacked the snapped part of it on Yuta's back, and then he made Yuta tap to Red Rum whilst holding onto a bit of the stick.
Yeah, who cares? All right, let's move on to the fucking main show.
Thank
Because
God.
I'm sure.
Okay.
I mean, if anyone hasn't already clicked off the video, we're about to go through the main fucking show.
Yeah. Okay, Juicy Boy, let's get you to cover the first matchup here. Brody King, Jay Lethal, Roosh, and Jay White take on Bryan Danielson, Mark Briscoe, Claudio Castagnoli, and Daniel Garcia. So these are the 8 guys that were in the Continental Classic.
Yeah. Okay. So pretty much immediately, so the first problem is we're supposed to think that this is supposed to be a big deal because we're seeing an 8-man tag between 8 losers who came up short in the tournament, and so but they're acting like it's a Survivor Series match as if there was something important on the line, which there wasn't. They start out, it's just non-stop strikes every step of the way. The cameras kept on missing things throughout this match. There was a thing where they completely missed the fact up for a froggy bow. They completely missed everything but the landing of the froggy bow. There was another thing where the cameras didn't bother to focus in on him when he went in for his redneck kung fu and was trying to have his little moment in the match. The commentators also frequently just continued talking over things that were supposed to be significant in the match. There was more of Roosh just not really bothering to sell and trying to wrestle like he's one of the Road Warriors. And they did some okay stuff, but this really just felt like it could have been left on the TV show. Okay, if they'd have done this match as a main event of a Dynamite or Collision, I'd probably be fine with the match, even though I don't care for some of the excessiveness in it. But because it's on pay-per-view, it just kind of felt like, why is this there? A lot of guys in this match, particularly Briscoe and Jay White, deserve better than to be in this match. Bryan Danielson, why did Bryan Danielson need to be in this match in the state that he is in? Like, why did he's got a broken orbital bone.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a fucked up arm. He has a couple of other injuries going on. He's supposed to be competing against Kazuchika Okada in the G1 at Wrestle Kingdom coming up, which is usually January 4th or 5th.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to fucking watch it, which is a pain in the ass because it usually goes for 6 hours. But back to my point before I diverge. Why do you need to put Bryan Danielson, when he's in such a fragile state, in this match? Is there a good reason for it? Nobody really needed to be in this match other than they're getting paid a lot of money, so they might as well be brought to work. The match itself, I'm going to give it a C-. It really just felt like it was kind of there for me. I'm not shitting on the wrestling. As I said, it was perfectly serviceable, but this was a TV main event stuffed onto a pay-per-view where it didn't belong, in my opinion.
Yeah, I saw Danielson. I'm like, fuck, bro. Like, you got an eye patch on. Like, take it easy. Fuck's sake, let it heal. I didn't know this was the match. I didn't look at the card beforehand. And when I saw Brody King come out and then Jay Lethal come out, I'm like, oh, okay, that's a weird tag team. And I thought that they were against Roosh and Jay White. But then I was like, oh, wait, no. And then more people kept coming out. I'm like, oh, God. This is just where it's shoehorning. He's shoehorning people, getting everyone as he possibly can on the show. That's why we always have these multi-man matches. And this has no stakes to it. this is guys that did not win that fucking tournament. And I don't know why any of them would be interested in this. Because here's the thing, there's another 8-man tag later in the fucking show. Why do we need 2?
Yeah.
And I'm like, can we get Danielson into something important? This guy's got 1 year left of his career or something like that, less than a year. Get him involved in something important. And then
the same could be said for Sting's inclusion in the other 8-man, by the way. But sorry, continue. I would have forgot if I didn't say that right then.
That's all right. Like, I'm thinking, like, why not Darby and Sting fucking winning the tag titles from Starks and fucking Big Bill, considering they're still an undefeated tag team in AEW, never had a title shot. Why was Malachi Black not a part of that tournament, but fucking Brody King was? Nothing against Brody, but it's a bit confusing to me. Brody, for whatever reason, tearing Daddy Magic a new hole when he was on commentary. I don't know why Daddy Magic had to be on commentary here. I don't know what the gimmick is at the moment. Excalibur, it's a fisherman buster, not a fisherman bomb. Shut up. They all started exchanging big time moves. I like that part. I like the big swing on Brody. Impressive. But okay, make it make sense again, bro. Why is the finish of this match Daniel Garcia rolling up Jay Lethal? Why is that the fit? All these guys. And
that was the other thing I forgot to mention. I don't really think it was a good idea to have Daniel Garcia get the pin. I think that should have gone to one of the slightly more well-known participants in the match. And for 2, why does Tony Khan hate Jay Lethal? Why does Jay Lethal have to constantly be pinned? Be the guy taking the pin, be on the losing end of a match. He goes in there, he does what he's asked to do, and then you just pin Jay. You know?
He didn't
why are they treating...
He didn't win one match in that Continental Classic, by the way.
Hang on a second, bro. Why are they treating Jay Lethal like he's the fucking... And no disrespect to them, but they're treating him as though his place on the card is a Brooklyn Brawler or a fucking... Barry Horowitz or fucking whoever, they're treating him like he's just, or Stevie Richards in more modern times, they're treating him like he's just one of those guys there that they can just throw out to take a loss. He's a very accomplished wrestler, and it just left a sad, like a bad taste in my mouth, to be honest with you.
Fair enough.
He had to be.
He didn't win one match in the Continental Classic. He went 0-8. By the way, after the match, Brody King apparently hit Daddy Magic in the face and laid him out, and we didn't get a shot of it. All we heard was like Taz and the commentators going, "Oh, and Daddy Magic is laid out here by Brody King." I'm like, what? Why don't you show it? Why is this happening? All right. Let's move forward into something positive as far as I'm concerned. Miro takes on Andrade El Idolo with CJ Perry at ringside. Oh, bro, she looked pretty good in that outfit. Fuck yeah, dude. So yeah, I was pretty excited for this because of that, because I am who I am. Let's be honest, these two have been sorely misused since being in AEW, haven't they?
Yeah.
Except when Miro had his little title run there, but they've done nothing for the last year and a half of note anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll both be back at WWE eventually. So, Miro attacks you from the outset. I'm like, you know what? Miro could be like the Scott Steiner of AEW. The way that he's like, he's huge. He's a bully. He's attacking people before they can even get in the ring properly.
He treats it serious.
Yeah. I did see the turn coming.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed this, but at one stage, one of them got thrown into the announce table, and you know how they had that thing on top of the table, and it kept on moving like in that direction. I'm pretty sure that both times it did that, it knocked a drink off the table into Taz's lap, because I heard someone say, "Somebody get Taz another towel." Poor Taz. Great exchange in the ring between the two of them. Some great chops from Andrade that echoed through the building. another side note, it makes AEW look bad that, Punk, Cargill, Pillman Jr., Regal have gone to WWE. QT Marshall's left AEW when he had a job there for life. The Bucks take a break whenever they want, and Andrade is leaving and probably going to WWE. This is his last AEW match. CJ screwed Andrade. I did like that finish. And the big kick from Miro should have been the finish, but he had to kick out.
Yeah.
And then he had to lock in the game over. No, sorry. That was the perfect thing to do to finish the match, but you had to go one more because that's AEW style. Anyway, still, I enjoyed this matchup. Very good. What did you think, bro?
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I'm going to give it a B+. I don't really have a lot to say about it. These are the two guys in AEW who were off TV quite often because they continually turned down creative ideas that they thought were stupid, which I admire them for doing that because, wrestlers should be a bit more protective of their image on TV. Even when Collision started and Andrade and Miro were going to be separated onto that show, they still continued to turn down things and only appeared on those shows a few times. AEW missed the mark with Andrade from the moment that he was in. They screwed up with him. They missed the mark. They never knew what they wanted to do with him. All they knew is that they wanted to sign him, and so they signed him in, and they sort of wasted three good years of his career in large part. And honestly, Miro, there's no rumors of him leaving yet, but I'll be honest, I think Miro's wasted there. Even if he's going to be having good matches and stuff like this, it's a waste. I think that he'd do a lot better under Triple H's stewardship than under Tony Khan's.
Fair enough, bro. Yep. I don't quite know, because the thing is, there's so many people there. Miro can't even get in the Continental Classic, like he can't move up the card. That portion is just packed full of people that he's never going to get a look in. And yeah. Anyway, let's move forward. AEW Women's World Championship here. Toni Storm defending against Riho. Take it away, bro.
Okay, well, I went first last time, but I'll do it again. I did not care for this match. Yes, I did not care for this match whatsoever.
I went first.
I thought that okay.
Keep going.
I did not care for this. I could see that they were trying. Honestly, there's going to be a lot of fans watching that groan and or roll their eyes when I say this, but people are right when they say that Riho is a bit too small to look credible in these matches. I understand that she does the high-flying, sort of light-footed Japanese style, and I understand that she's talented at performing the moves and stuff like that, but there was no getting around the fact that Toni Storm looked at any time like she could just grab Riho in a choke and put her out if she wanted to. So it's the kind of match where it's only happening because Toni Storm is allowing it to, and therefore I'm unable to really get invested in it because it just lacks credibility with me. I didn't really like it. I think that this was a waste of a match for Toni Storm, who's really getting over. I think that this idea that Riho is some phenomenal women's wrestling star is, quite frankly, a bit overblown. I think if you got Asuka in the WWE, I think she can do everything Riho does, but just better, as far as a Japanese women's wrestler of renowned ability. And I think this was a bit of a mistake to put this on the show. I especially think it was a big mistake to basically, it didn't work. It didn't work for me.
Yeah, the only thing that really worked for me here was Toni's gimmick. I'm liking the gimmick. This is what she's always needed, I think. I don't think the stuff she was doing with Saraya was that crash hot, but and I just thought, why Toni can pull this off, because she's Australian and Australians are funny. And that also made me think, what's Saraya doing? Getting paid quite a lot of money to not really be doing a whole lot right now. I'm also digging what Luther's doing. When he got ejected, he yelled at the referee saying, "That's highly irregular." I don't really want to say much more about the match because I was just like, I wasn't very interested either. I just think nobody thinks Riho's winning this, and I don't think she should be getting any more title shots on pay-per-view again in AEW. I understand she was the first champion. I understand she's also Kenny Omega's girlfriend, but she's not a threat. She's never looked like a threat. You can try and put her in these positions all you like, but sorry, like this and Julia Hart's match, I was miffed at the decision to put them opponents who they chose. I was miffed by it. Yeah. Toni hit Storm Zero and Riho kicked out. Then Toni hit a DDT type move to win. And again, I don't know why they needed to do extra. And then Mariah May came out, which kind of made me feel a bit better. She showered Toni in petals. Very nice. All right. Backstage, me, bro. We had one thing happen backstage on this show. And Lexy Nair was backstage with Dante Martin. So happy to see him back. Happy to see that stupid spot that they came up with didn't ruin his career. Gets a few seconds into the fucking interview. What do you know? Interrupted by Orange Cassidy. And then there's a title match suggested, and then Orange accepts, and then Lexy looks at the camera and says, "Well, it's official. This week there will be an international title match between."
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me go ahead just like that, bro. Just like that. It's official.
Let me go ahead and just let me just address that. Okay. There are hang on, man. Hang on.
Here we go.
Okay. There are many more ways to announce a match and to set up a match than to have it stem from a backstage interruption. Okay? Now, AEW has used backstage interruptions or backstage verbal altercations in general to launch basically 85% of the programs and feuds that have occurred in the company since its inception. I am not exaggerating when I say that is basically the most used trope in AEW. Someone's standing there, they're trying to have an interview. You might kind of be interested in hearing what they have to say and whether they have the charisma on the mic. But no, 20 seconds in, someone walks in and then they exchange some lame dialogue that sounds fake and a match is made. Now, AEW is not the only company that's guilty of this. How many fucking weeks for years and years did a WWE show start with either a wrestler or an authority figure coming out to the ring, getting a microphone, talking for like 5 minutes, and then someone else's music hits and they come out and get a microphone and they start else's music hits, and then they end up making a tag match or they make a main event or whatever. Yeah. That literally happened week after 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 week, especially on Raw, for what felt like a period of years. This backstage interruption setting up a match, that is AEW's answer to WWE setting up matches in the opening promo of their shows. Okay? It's overdone. And a second comment I want to make, and this is more of a personal bias, I have no fucking interest in seeing Orange Cassidy face off against Dante Martin. Dante Martin has just come back from, as you said, what could have been a career ending. Forget about career ending. Like, he could have died theoretically. Like, if you actually go back and watch the spot, there's all these stacks of tables underneath for him to land on. But there's actually no safe way to land in that move. All he basically did was backflipped himself off the ladder, and then whatever happened, happened. And then you saw the result. Like, he's just come back from that. You know, he's one of the most talented high flyers that I think is in the industry as far as young up-and-comers. And you put him against Orange Cassidy, who you know that he's not going to lose to. Orange Cassidy's not going to lose to Dante Martin. What is going on in Tony's mind or in the creative department's mind, like where he think, you know what, this young kid who can do incredible things, and it's like watching Spider-Man in the ring. You know what? He's just come back from this near career-ending injury. I think, Orange Cassidy could use a win over him. That would be really good for Orange Cassidy. I don't want to see it. I think I can speak for a number of people in saying that they probably don't want to see it either. It's ridiculous.
Yep. Well, you would have thought that maybe Dante might come back as a heel and go after Penta or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Lucha Brothers are doing. Quite frankly, I don't give a shit what they're doing. But you'd think that the guy would come after the guy that injured him. But anyway,
yeah,
we'll have him lose a international. The belt doesn't mean shit anyway.
Yeah, they can do a bunch of high spots, and Orange Cassidy can do a bunch of hurricanranas and stuff with his hands in his pockets. And
same shit we've been saying for fucking years. Same fucking shit. Anyway, let's get to the next match here. Swerve Strickland with Prince Nana taking on Dustin Rhodes. Oh, God. At this point, I really wanted something that was going to pique my interest, but,
yeah,
I kind of forgotten who Swerve was against. And when Dustin came out, I'm like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of Dustin Rhodes, but, I know Swerve's winning. Another foregone conclusion. So look, Dustin's in great shape. But Miro jumped Andrade earlier, and now Swerve's jumping Dustin. Rule of one. Rule of one. Say it all the time. Again, the crowd were going for the heel like they were going for Toni Storm. I don't get it, bro. And here's the thing that you told me about before I watched this. He had a cinder block, and his ankle just shattered with this cinder block. And I'm like, make it make sense once again. This is the third make it make sense. How is it allowed that he has a cinder block smashed on his ankle and he's allowed to continue? He's allowed to continue even though the doctors have come out. Still allowed to continue. Make it make sense. Swerve's working the ankle. So we know what this match is going to be like. It's going to be Dustin Rhodes fucking falling all over the place. Dustin,
don't
I
mind me,
give
bro.
him credit
I'm just doing a little research for some little fun fact I want to throw in after you're finished. Continue
do as you
on.
fucking please, mate. So at least Dustin was selling good. Prince Nana getting clocked was probably the most entertaining part of the match for me. Dustin's starting to build some offense, and looks like he's nearly going to win the match. Crowd start booing it. No, man. And I'm thinking this whole time, what's the point of the ankle spot? What's the point? I don't know why they did it. I don't know why they couldn't have just had a fucking match. Make it make sense. He's working on the ankle with a half crab, and I'm like, if his ankle is smashed by a cinder block, how does he not tap out? Come on, Dustin. I expect better from you. Anyway, Swerve finally won the match with a fucking flat finish. There was no suspense there.
Yeah.
Anyway, over to you, bro. What do you think?
Yeah, bro. So I agree with everyone that you with everything that you said. I thought that this was absolutely fucking shit. So okay. No, hang on. So to begin with, Keith Lee's been out with injury, so this blow off to his feud with Swerve Strickland is it's been cold for a long time, and they've been waiting to blow it off for ages, but because of Keith's injury, he hasn't been able to do it. Okay? It was scheduled to be on this pay-per-view, and Keith Lee, again with whatever medical things are going on, didn't end up being able to do the match. It's unfortunate for him. I feel bad for him. There are rumors he's been dealing with long COVID, and it's been affecting his abilities and performance in the ring. He is not to blame for that. And and it's unfortunate. However, if Keith Lee cannot compete in that match, why have the match at all? Because most people are ready to see Swerve start competing for the AEW World title. Now, getting to the match itself. In kayfabe, it kind of makes sense that Keith Lee's tag team partner, Dustin Rhodes, might agree to substitute in this match for him, if they are going to have it. Because in kayfabe, Dustin obviously knows, the animosity between Swerve and Keith Lee, and so he's going to want to take vengeance on behalf of his tag team partner and friend. Okay, Dustin come out and the two of them have a good pay-per-view match and Swerve wins, that would have been fine. That would have been fine. I still would have thought that it might have not been necessary to do on the pay-per-view, but it would have been fine. I think we can both agree that that would have been a very good match. I feel a little let down, in fact, that I didn't actually get to see Dustin at 100% performing against Swerve. So we get to the cinder block thing. Just while you were talking there, I was just Googling it. A standard cinder block on average weighs between 35 and 45 pounds, okay? It's not as heavy as a concrete block, but 35 to 45 pounds, that's still pretty heavy. If one of them gets smashed onto somebody's ankle while the ankle is placed over another hard surface, which in this case was the steel steps, okay, and the cinder block is shattered, then I think so. Either way, they had it over solid surface. If you break a 40-pound cinder block over somebody's ankle at full force like that, all of Swerve's weight, 200 and some odd pounds, coming down at that velocity, pinpointed on that point in the ankle. If it was real life, and I understand that wrestling isn't real life, but if this was real, not only would it be a serious injury worthy of a card off, it would probably be something that would be potentially career damaging. Like it could, if you did that to someone for real, you could potentially completely snap their ankle, much worse than simply breaking it. So with that in mind, if they had have carted him off and just had Swerve then gloat and be like, I'm above all this shit, I'm going for the AEW World title soon, again, that would have been fine. Even though, again, I wasn't really that interested, but it would have been fine from a booking and creative point of view, Okay? But then they broke the thing. The medical staff are out there. I'm wondering why they aren't strapping him to a gurney and wheeling him out, because they should be trying to keep his leg straight and keep his foot still, and they should be getting Swerve. The commentators sort of don't really seem to know what to make of it. All of a sudden, the camera cuts back, and I see Dustin Rhodes now being held by two people limping on one foot, okay? At that point, I quickly walked out of my room where I was watching the pay-per-view, walked up, grabbed something out of the cupboard, came back in the room. When I came back in the room, Dustin is now in the ring about to have the match. Okay? But instead of just Swerve kicking his broken ankle brutally and Dustin going down to the mat screaming and then Swerve hitting that kick and getting the pin straight away, they went and had a fucking 15-minute match. Dustin's doing a Canadian Destroyer. He's doing the power slam. He's dropping down onto his knees and doing the uppercut. He's delivering the crossroads and stuff like that. How is he meant to be able to do any of that with a supposedly broken ankle that's just had a cinder block shattered on it? And then, okay, so Tony's an idiot. I don't agree with it. They decide they're actually going to do a match. You still could have actually had a finish done that actually had some impact to it. If you're going to do the match, why wouldn't you just have Swerve jump off the top and double foot stomp his ankle again?
Yeah, why would you finish it the way that they did? Like,
why wouldn't the finish
nothing to do with the ankle?
Why?
Wouldn't it be,
why wouldn't the finish be? Why wouldn't it be something related to the ankle?
I know. So why do it?
This match gets an F. It's a dud. It sucked.
Oh boy, fuck me. In fact, it had no it had no effect on what the finish was. It's just and don't give me any of that shit. Oh well, because he was hitting him with the kicks to the side of the head because Dustin couldn't get up because it was shut up, dickhead. Shut up.
Okay. He clearly could get up. He clearly could get up because he did a fucking 20-minute match.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to convey that he couldn't get up, you needed to take out his leg before you did something like that. Anyway.
Okay, so you didn't watch the next match, did you? Which was the second 6-man tag of the proceedings.
Well, actually, I did go back and check it out in abbreviated form. So I made sure that I took a look at all the major points.
All right, bro. Did you see the sign in the crowd when Jericho was about to get in the ring? World's NDA.
I did.
Do you want to go first? Or
yeah, sure. I'm happy to. I don't have much to say about the match. Besides all the Chris Jericho stuff, which I'm not going to really comment on because I think, that speaks for itself and everyone's going to make up their own mind anyway. But the match itself, I felt like, considering this is Sting's final match in New York, I felt that this was a huge waste of Sting's last match in New York. I am in agreement with you that this should have been Darby and Sting versus Big Bill and Ricky, and I think that you could have had Darby and Sting win the titles here as a feel-good moment in Sting's final match in New York. I don't think that would have harmed Starks and Big Bill. I think each of them will be okay, without the tag titles. The 8-man situation, the fact that it was a 4-on-4 match instead of a 2-on-2 match, again, it felt like a too many cooks situation for me. I don't think that it was necessary to have this many people in the match, and I don't really think that any one participant in particular was given a very good opportunity to really stand out and do something memorable during the match, because there was just too many people and not really enough time to do anything. And on top of all that, Carl, there wasn't really a genuinely good reason to have the match. Again, I'll finish by saying that I think it should have just been a 2-on-2 involving Darby and Sting. And I gave the match a D. Like, I really didn't care for the actual quality of the stuff. I just didn't think it worked. Didn't click.
Yep. Make it make sense once again. Okay. A few months ago, Sammy Guevara turned on Chris Jericho, joined up with Don Callis and the Don Callis family. Sammy and Jericho had a match. I'm pretty sure Sammy beat Jericho in that match, right? This past week on Dynamite, I believe, Sammy has a confrontation with Don because Sammy's been out. I think maybe his wife had a baby. I don't know what it was, but he had been on TV for a little while. He comes back and he's getting in Don's face about the way that he's been running the group since Sammy's been on. And I'm like, here we fucking go. Here we go. Let's be fucking lazy all over again. Why the fuck would Sammy, after just turning on Jericho, after all that shit, why the fuck would he, out of the blue, all of a sudden have a problem with Don? Why did he go with Don in the first place if he didn't trust Don's vision? So then he gets attacked. Jericho makes the save. Jericho's attacked, and then Sting and Darby make the save for Jericho and Sammy. And that's what leads to this 8-man tag team match. Fucking lazy, bro. I can't fucking stand the fact that fucking idiot. You see him in the media scrum with the stupid hat on and his sunglasses. How embarrassing. He's the owner of the company, and that little idiot has a dad who happens to be a billionaire. And he gets to play wrestling and fuck it up.
And also, while you're mentioning that, he showed up to a press conference for a pay-per-view wearing a stupid fur hat and sunglasses when he knows that one of his top stars has just had allegations of sexual harassment leveled at his company. And regardless of the level of credence that he may or may not place behind those rumors, that is not a good look. You know that you're going to be going out to that press scrum and someone is going to be asking that question. And if you're going to answer, well, we have one of the safest environments in the world, we have a strict anti-harassment policy, whatever you're going to have, you should be wearing a suit and tie representing your company as a businessman and a leader when something that serious is going to be asked.
Yeah.
And the fact that he wore the stupid hat and the glasses, I doubt, that it was a deliberate thing on his part, and I doubt that it had any reference to the Jericho situation, but that did not create good optics for the situation. If I was him, I would have been thinking, okay, I know someone's going to ask me about this, and I'm going to address it seriously and promptly and firmly. And whether I'm going to defend Chris Jericho, and whether I'm going to defend Chris Jericho or not, I'm going to protect the reputation of my company and make sure everyone knows that I take this seriously. Yeah. And he failed to do that. He failed to do that.
I can't, I always say, I'm sorry, I'm always so, but dude, he is a fucking buffoon. He is a clown. He is immature. He's irrational. He hasn't got it together. He's just a dickhead. I'm sure he's a nice guy if you get to know him, but I don't know how anyone on that roster has any faith in him. I don't know how anyone could be proud to have that guy sitting there at that scrum with that stupid fucking thing on his head with his sunglasses on at nighttime, answering the question about sexual harassment policies and all that, still with the fucking thing on his head. You'd think when they bring that up, he might take off the glasses. They might take off the hat. Okay, this is a serious question. No, he answered the question wearing that fucking shit. You fucking idiot. You clown.
I wonder if anyone else is going to pick up on that. Like, not saying that I'm so smart, but I wonder if anyone else is even going to notice that. Because that's the first thing that stood out to me. I was just like, what was he thinking? Okay.
What was it referencing? Was he just doing it because he thought he was being funny?
Which he wasn't. It wasn't funny at all. It wasn't funny. It wasn't charming. Nobody looked at it and sort of chuckled. Everyone looked at it and went, what the fuck are you doing, dude? He's like that weird kid in your class that even when you try to be friendly with him and buddy up to him and stuff like that, just everything that he does to try to get over still is just weird because his brain is obviously wired in a different way. And that's nothing against non-neurotypical people. I'm one of them myself. But like, fucking hell, dude, what could the motivation be? I don't know, bro.
Read the fucking room, bro. Like, you own a company. There's so many people who are relying on this for their families, their lives.
Yeah.
And you're acting like a fucking dumb cunt. Anyway. I just can't stand the fact that this is the guy that got to have the billionaire father that got to start a wrestling company. Everyone's dream out there to be able to start a wrestling company, and it had to be this guy who's fucking it up royally. And if there's anyone out there that was like, oh, Tony's so down to earth, look how funny he is. You're a fucking moron too, mate. Okay.
You know what? It's actually fine to be down to earth as well. Yeah. But you just don't need to be a fuckhead.
Yeah. There's times to be professional and there's times to be silly. And that wasn't the time. Okay, let's get back to the match here. Hobbs, I feel bad for Powerhouse Hobbs, bro. 1 minute it looks like they're going with him. He beats Wardlow, I think. He's TNT champion. They're going with him. Then he gets stuck with QT Marshall and his group. Then he's no longer in that group. And now he's stuck in fucking Don Callis's group. And he was just in team to get him out of the stables. Why is Hobbs always stuck in a stable being a henchman? Either go with him or fucking release him. Stop fucking wasting people's very important parts of their career doing shit like this. Then they're talking about, the rise of Takeshita since being with Don Callis. What rise? What, he beat Kenny Omega? Then what? Didn't lead to anything, bro. Go to Ibushi's under contract, by the way. Don't know what he's going to be there for now that Kenny's not on TV because he's out. The fans start a chant. They try to start a Kylie Ray chant. And I'll be honest, bro, Jericho was absolutely fucking dreadful in this one. Usually I'm not harsh, on some of the older talent, but he's taken this front bump off Big Bill and completely fucked it.
In what way did he fuck it? Like
he like landed on his knees instead of like flat bumping,
Yeah.
And one other thing, Jericho, calm the fuck down with social media, dude. You're making a fool of yourself. Takeshita hit an avalanche blue thunder bomb off the second rope on, I think it was Guevara. Yeah, it was Darby. Huge move, doesn't go for a pin attempt. So there's a heat on Darby going on for quite some time. Sting got a hot tag. We got stereo Stinger splashes from Jericho and Sting, and Jericho Stinger splash. Fuck. It looked like a fat guy that didn't have any athletic bone in his body trying to do a Stinger splash. And I'm not saying Jericho's fat, but he went up like a fucking sack of shit. Like he did not, he didn't go up very, very high. Anyway, I want to get to the end of this. Every time Jericho does something, the crowd are booing him. His bumps were clumsy. Every time Jericho was getting beaten on, the crowd were popping for it. And now I'm like, get him off TV for a while. Take him off for a bit. Let him cool down. I don't know what the situation was, and I don't really care. Because there's always fucking drama going on in AEW. But get him off TV at the moment because people aren't happy with him. By the way, Darby Allin copped, I think, 2 German suplexes where he landed on his fucking head. So that's one day he's going to get paralyzed, and then everyone will be like, oh, we should have maybe done something. Don Callis got in the ring with a baseball bat and was distracting everyone, and he didn't get ejected for it. Yet Luther got ejected for getting involved earlier. Come on, you can't do one not the other. Fucking think, boys.
Be consistent, you fucking idiots.
Why can't they be consistent, dude?
Oh.
Anyway, Sammy got speared by Starks and he kicked out, and then somehow Sammy hit a shooting star press, I believe, on Starks to get the pin, and it was such a flat finish. It didn't.
Yeah.
It's just no suspense. And I'm like, oh, the reason they're doing this is because Sammy and Jericho are probably going to beat them for the tag titles at the next pay-per-view or whatever. Who cares? I don't think that's going to happen at this stage, considering. Anyway, let's move forward, bro. Jeez, we talked for a while there.
Yeah.
The next matchup, TBS title on the line, Julia Hart defending against Abaddon. I will try and skim through these notes here. First thing, we got 3 women's matches. One might have been on the pre-show, but well done, Toni. They've been averaging about 1 per pay-per-view for quite some time. Now we got 3. Good. And I'm like, okay, I'm seeing who Julia's against here. It's Abaddon. And I'm like, Abaddon has done nothing for years. Like, I don't watch the program anymore, like Dynamite and all that, but I have a feeling Abaddon must have spent a lot of their time on like AEW Dark or something, because I'm like, how did Abaddon get a title shot here? It's like Riho. They just throw people in there and expect it to mean something. Just skipping through a few notes there. This is a foregone conclusion. I was thinking to myself, man, like this show is so long. The main event has to be after this, surely. No, I was way off. I did like the part where Abaddon was biting Julia, but as this match was going on, I was like, Abaddon isn't pay-per-view ready. I'm sorry. That I think that I don't mean to be harsh, but I don't think we need to see Abaddon on pay-per-view anymore. I'm sorry. Either improve or whatever. Get out of the fucking business if you don't like it. Look, I'll give Julia Hart
Yeah.
some credit here. Great facial expressions during the match. She stayed in character. I liked it. But the match had no heat. Abaddon comes across like a heel. Julia's the heel. Sky Blue comes out. Another fuck aroundy finish here. Which don't get me wrong. I'm not mad at Sky Blue being in my view. But it's just a bit too much fuckery. The finish just came across messy. Abaddon's head got smashed into the stairs. Julia, oh God, she hit the moonsault so well last pay-per-view, and this time she overshot it and she landed on her feet. No. And she wins the match and retains. And yeah, it just kind of fucked the match there. But
Yeah.
what did you think?
Yeah, this is another D rating for me. It was not a good match. Both of these women are still in the stage of their career where they need to be led through matches by more experienced performers who can structure the match in such a way to hide the weaknesses and accentuate the strengths in their performances. Here you had a situation where it was like the blind leading the blind, because you had two less experienced wrestlers being thrown straight out there on pay-per-view to have this match, and it's being done in a company where we know the agenting and the producing isn't managed as tightly as it is over in the other company. And I think that you could really see the results of that in this match. So that's really all I had to say. I felt bad for both ladies, quite frankly. I think that certainly both of them are capable of having good matches, but not against each other. They both need more experience.
Yeah, I don't know how long Abaddon's been wrestling for, but I just don't think these two had any chemistry whatsoever. Right, let's get to, I guess, the highlight of the evening, because it's finally, Juicy Boys, something with heat. Adam Copeland versus Edge. Sorry. Christian Cage versus Adam Copeland here, TNT title. Your turn, bro. Take it away. What did you think of this one?
All right. Well, this was probably the only, really decent match on the card. It baffles me why they gave away the first match for free on TV. The two of them had a really good match in there until the finish, which was really fucking dumb, or it looked dumb. The idea of putting the Waynes with Christian isn't dumb, but the way they got there was stupid. So this match begins. Edge is wearing the same gear he was in his hardcore match at WrestleMania 22 against Mick Foley. Cool little touch there. Signifies that he takes the match seriously. He considers this a big one. I'm not going to go through the match spot by spot. That's not how I like to review. They had a very physical, very intense, very smooth flowing match. These guys are both masters of putting matches together and knowing like when to do the right thing and where to do this. And they have that chemistry, even though they don't have, this huge legacy of working against each other at the professional level. There is just that chemistry between them that clearly comes from their minds for the business. And then they're both just so good in the ring that their bodies probably operate, partly on autopilot while they're working together. I liked a lot of what I saw in the match. There are a couple of things I want to mention. All right, setting the table on fire. So they pull out the table, they set it on fire. Everyone knows. Oh, they spray it with the lighter fluid. Nick Wayne does. They light it up. So the table is now lit up by the Waynes. Nick Wayne then, in the same position Mick Foley was in the WrestleMania 22 match. And clearly he's supposed to try and climb back in the ring. And as he's trying to do that, Edge is supposed to spear him outside through the table. But of course, unfortunately, the flames fizzled out pretty much as soon as Nick Wayne stepped up onto the apron. So as Adam Copeland went to charge at him for the spot. He stopped because he's noticed, oh shit, the table's going out. That's going to be embarrassing as fuck. So he stops. He starts awkwardly. He awkwardly maybe strikes Nick Wayne a couple of times. Then Nick Wayne is now perched on the apron, kind of on one knee, hanging on the middle rope on the apron. And he just waits there for about 4 minutes while Edge.
Long, bro.
Okay, but it was a long time though. It was longer. It was longer than it should have been. Okay,
a lot of fluid. On it.
Yeah. So Edge now goes out there and he uses like 2 or 3 things of lighter fluid instead of just the one, and goes to light it properly. And that takes a while. And instead of rolling into the ring and selling, Nick Wayne just stayed in that position on the apron, waiting for the spear, or waiting for the spot. And then he was still there when Edge had lit the table on fire. So Copeland just grabs him and power bombs him through it. And Nick Wayne, this is nothing against the way he took the bump, because you could see he fully took it. There was no fear or anything like that. But just the positioning of it, and because he's so fucking light, because this is what happens when you use these 18, 19-year-old kids. You know, instead of going through the table, you know, with force and extinguishing the flames, he just bounced straight off the table and took a neck bump and then started acting. So it was the equivalent of like, you know, walking on some hot stones for a moment and then having some blistered feet. Like, instead of actually being damaged from being put through the fire, he just got power bombed on the floor basically and glanced the flaming table on the way out, and they still acted like it was a huge thing. But at least that still would have hurt, so it wasn't totally unsalvageable, but that just didn't work. Okay, and the second thing that I want to mention is the finish. All right. Edge wins the title off of Christian. Okay. Christian has now lost the championship. Holy shit. I was like, oh, that was I'm not sure I would have had Christian lose. I might have actually had him beat Edge a second time and really put the heat onto Christian. But I was like, nah, I don't really like the result, but I'm not unhappy with it because both these guys are still good. So I have to imagine that you know, that this is going to continue to be good whatever they do. Okay, here's where I get unhappy. All right. Killswitch comes out. He's just won that fucking contract in that dumb battle royal that we covered at the beginning of this review about 5 hours ago. And he's got the contract and it looks like he's going to cash it in. And by the way, I can see why WWE uses a briefcase, because the people up the back of the arena aren't going to fucking be able to see what he's holding up. He's got like an A4 sheet of paper with a little clipboard on it. And he goes in there and he's considering cashing in his championship shot that he only just won. And that, you know, that part of it makes sense because obviously, you know, he has just taken out the new champion Copeland by chokeslamming him on the chair. Here's where it gets fucking stupid as fuck. So now Christian's like, no, actually, you should give me the championship shot. Give me the contract. Let me have it. Then Luchasaurus kind of half-heartedly second guesses it, gives it to him. Fucking Christian signs it. Everyone's booing. Edge gets to his feet. Christian hits him with the spear, gets the pin. You know, Edge won the match the first time with the Prettier. Christian just won the title straight back using the spear. So they exchange finishes. Absolutely fucking stupid finish. Ridiculous fucking booking. Ridiculous fucking use of Killswitch. Absolutely fucking stupid that Killswitch only just won the contract earlier in the night. So, okay. So in kayfabe, this plan that they orchestrated was only able to happen because Killswitch happened to win the Battle Royal and Christian happened to lose. Much more sense if Luchasaurus had won this title shot weeks ago and then it's in the back pocket so that they can remind people later on at this time. You know, the fact that he just won it back straight after Adam Copeland won it clean was just absolutely ridiculous, bro. I'm going to give the match still a C+ because it was really good. I know I've been talking a lot, but that's the thing with these AEW shows when they go sideways. You end up with a lot to talk about, unfortunately.
Oh, bro, I just think AEW's cursed or something. They're cursed. They're so like okay, like I'll get to the match in a second, but you look at the whole landscape of the whole thing, everything that's been going on since 2021, all the fucking drama with everyone, all these things that keep coming out, the evidence of the dirt sheet writers clearly having bias to them and always coming up with excuses for them. The way that their fans act on social media and all that, the way that they act in the arena, the whole thing just has this fucking, I don't know, dark cloud over it as far as I'm concerned.
It's a snake bit. It's snake bit.
It's such a turn off to me. AEW is a massive turn off to me because of all these things and the EVPs, all that stuff, right? I just think it's snake bit, it's cursed. This reminded me, the table spot reminded me of the exploding barbed wire death match, right? Because or Jericho getting pushed off the cage into the crash pads.
Yeah.
If this was WWE doing it, and Tony Khan's bragged so many times about the fact that he has more money than WWE, his dad does. Why is it that we can't get things fucking right? Why is it that we try to light a table on fire and within a few seconds the fire's already out? What went wrong? Why was that not avoided? Because when WWE do something like that, guarantee you that nothing is going to fuck that up. They're going to make sure. They do an exploding barbed wire death match, they will make sure it fucking goes off without a hitch. It just seems like they try to do these things and it just never seems to work out. And I don't know who to blame for that. It's no one's real fault for the powerbomb. But when he missed that powerbomb, because I wanted to see him go straight through that flame and see the flame get put out, when he just kind of bounced off the table, I was like, no, of all things, how annoying for them. I just think they're cursed. I'm not going to talk about spots in the match. It was a good match. That was an unfortunate part of it. So Edge, sorry, I keep calling him Edge. Adam Copeland wins. He's the new TNT champ. Okay, I'm gonna just add to what you said about this kill switch thing, right? When he won that battle royal, they didn't say he could cash in the fucking shot at the belt anytime he wants. Like, he won a contract to face the TNT champion. Yeah, okay. But it was never depicted as some sort of money in the bank cash in type thing. And of course, they're going to use a briefcase because then they'll get accused of copying WWE. But why wasn't he out there for the match? Why did he come out after the match? Shouldn't he be? If Nick Wayne's going to be so involved, you think maybe Killswitch might run out when Nick Wayne's like about to get powerbombed through a flaming table. But no.
Yeah.
So he comes out, he's going to cash it in. Christian takes it off him, signs his name on it. Oh, so it's that easy, is it? Like, what if someone just fucking went backstage and grabbed the contract from Killswitch's locker room and signed the name on it? Then do they get a title shot, do they?
Doesn't have to be notarized.
Make sense. Why wasn't he at ringside? Make it make sense. I get it. I get him giving up the title shot to Christian, but it doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. And that kind of ruins everything for me. Christian wins the belt back. I don't know. That was such a great angle too. Christian's doing such a great job. And these things just keep happening. Anyway, okay. Let's move forward again. Bro, I thought the main event was definitely next. No, I was like, oh, fuck. Here comes Moxley.
Don't worry, man. I'm going to be quick.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess I'll quickly run through what I got here. Eddie Kingston was wearing some new kick pads, right? And here's another, I love picking on Excalibur. Yeah, he's got the Toshiaki Kawada inspired kick pads. And I'm like, shut up, you fucking nerd. No one knows who that is. And if you do, nerd, wrestling nerd.
Get a life.
Toshiaki Kawada. Like, if they looked like, I don't know, the Great Muda's fucking kick pads, then I'll be like, yeah, that's a reference to make. But Not some fucking obscure, and if he's not obscure and I should know who he is, then fuck you, I don't care, nerd. I hate, bro, I love Danielson. I think he's great, but I hate when these Blackpool Combat Club guys are on commentary as one of their teammates is wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm just like, fuck off with the analysis. It's not real. This isn't MMA. Stop it.
Yeah.
Guest commentary is about getting a character, a story over. You have the play-by-play guy trying to put over the holds in the moves or whatever and being annoying at it, by the way, Excalibur. I don't need their analysis on something that's fake.
Agreed.
Sorry. Eddie nearly dives
be.
on a... Sorry, he nearly dives on a dive to the outside. They had 2 chop battles that I skipped. Excalibur called a side suplex a Northern Lights bomb. I'm like, fuck. The match was boring. It was fucking boring, bro. The constant bulldog choking. Yeah. There's no psychology other than them both looking frustrated because they can't put the other one away. And then Eddie just knocked him out with a back fist. And I'm like, what a fucking shit finish to the end of this illustrious tournament with these 3 championships for a triple crown that's now on Eddie Kingston, who I'm a big fan of Eddie Kingston, but I'd just be happy with him just being Ring of Honor World Champion. You know, that would mean I would still care about Ring of Honor, but now you've put these 3 belts together that make no sense. Yeah. Oh, he's going to be defending them in New Japan and Ring of Honor and AEW. Who fucking cares? People defend Ring of Honor titles in AEW all the fucking time. Like the people who have these belts, that New Japan Strong title was already being defended on AEW TV. What difference does it make that they're all together now? You don't have a Ring of Honor world title now. You have a fucking continental championship. What the fuck are you doing, you stupid cunt? You clown.
Yeah.
Just forcing this thing to be a thing. It's a triple crown. You can't have a triple crown if one of the belts wasn't already a belt. It's not a triple crown. It's a double crown that's now been called something else.
Yeah.
You can't call it a triple crown, you clown. Sorry, Juicy Boy. It fucking pisses me off.
I'll be really quick here.
Go for it.
It was a terrible match. It was boring. All they did was the typical exchanges of strikes and the annoying headlocks and stuff. Plenty of people are going to disagree with me about it online. That's why I don't respond to your comments. And just like when I was having a conversation with Meltzer and some of you started piling in, I didn't even look, so you wasted your time, fuckheads.
Fuck you.
This was a garbage match attempting to be strong style. We've covered catch wrestling and strong style wrestling from places like the CWA, Catch Wrestling Association in Europe, and the UWF from Japan, which specialize in MMA-influenced shoot style presented professional wrestling matches. So we do enjoy that style, that shoot style of wrestling. Yeah. This wasn't it. And I won't have anyone telling me that it was. This was a half-hearted attempt at pulling off a strong style standoff between 2 tough guys. It didn't work. F. The second F that I've given it on the show.
Fuck, bro. People are going to be like, you're hate watching. No,
I don't give a fuck.
It wasn't good.
I don't give a fuck.
It wasn't good. These ideas he's coming up with are fucking terrible. A lot of these finishes are just that. If there's finishes in a fucked finish, like someone getting fucked, like Sky Blue screwed over Abaddon, CJ Perry screwed over Andrade. If it's not a screwy finish, the finishes have been flat with no suspense whatsoever, or they've done the thing that should be the finish and then picked them up and done something else, which they have a habit of.
Keep going. Yeah.
And we're about to get the same kind of thing for this main event here of the evening, AEW World Championship, MJF versus Samoa Joe. Take it away, Juicy Boy.
Yeah, they had a pretty good match here. I didn't expect the match between these two to not be good. It's a shame that the circumstances surrounding this championship match are so convoluted and unnecessarily busy. The match itself, I really enjoyed. I think that MJF worked really hard, despite the fact that he does have, a couple of legitimate injuries, which he's now going to take care of, it's good for him. I'm glad to see that. I think that he gave it the best that he could in this match against Samoa Joe. I think Samoa Joe deserves the win that he got because A, it's better than anyone from the Elite or any of the typical people we usually see with the belt, and B, Joe has worked really hard and consistently has awesome matches, and he's one of the bright spots in AEW, and so that's awesome to see. So the match itself was fine. I'm giving it actually a B+. I want to congratulate MJF on a great championship reign, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Samoa Joe can do with the championship and the right opponent. Now, my big bugaboo about this is, of course, the revealing of the devil. So obviously a couple of weeks ago, MJF and Adam Cole, who were the Ring of Honor tag team champions, they lost those titles to two anonymous masked henchmen of this devil character, who we didn't find out their identity when they won the belts. Samoa Joe, incidentally, was substituting as MJF's partner for that match because this was a babyface versus babyface match. After the match, though, I'm sure you'll have a bit more to say about it. It's revealed basically that Adam Cole, who, by the way, is still on crutches and months and months and months and months and months and months away from being able to do anything physical. So they reveal Adam Cole as the devil, which is the most unsurprising, foregone conclusion, predictable, expected shit that I've ever heard. And even though it was really predictable, I thought it was a bad idea, even though I knew that it was coming. So not only was it predictable, but it was always going to suck. And it did suck. And then it turned out, I believe, that the two masked henchmen turned out to be Taven and Bennett. And now you've got Adam Cole and Roderick Strong and Taven and Bennett all in this big group. And Adam Cole is the devil. And it turns out that he's been orchestrating this thing and plotting and fiending to become MJF's friend, to buy his trust all this time, just to be revealed on him. Okay? Absolute crap. Absolute crap. People have been saying for weeks now, since the last pay-per-view at least, that this devil, whoever it turned out to be, it needs to be either someone who we haven't seen in ages or who we've never seen in AEW before. It needs to be somebody big. It needs to be somebody who people are keen to see. Like, to be honest with you, even though I knew it wasn't, I commented in a group the other day, the devil needed to be somebody like a Seth Rollins coming in, really, to have the impact that would be deserving of the amount of time that they've spent on him. And it was just completely underwhelming and a popcorn fart. And honestly, it really just makes MJF, who is and was one of your strongest characters and one of your strongest heels once upon a time, it really just makes him look idiotic when he's spent the first 3.5 years of his career in AEW establishing himself as the cunning, puppet master who's moving the pieces on the board. And now all of that is just being undone because somehow we're supposed to believe that MJF was fooled and convinced by all of this crap, which has looked fake and phony from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finished now, bro.
Well, he's cooled off a lot now. I think he's been booked like shit as a babyface. Yeah, like I'm kind of getting, as this match was beginning, MJF's got the shoulder all strapped up. And I'm like, I'm sick of, I know he's injured or whatever. I'm sick of him having some sort of injury. Last time it was the ankle or the knee or whatever it was. Now it's a shoulder. I'm just sick of hearing that scream of his, He's got stale as a babyface, which that's my opinion. At the beginning, maybe not so much, but now, one thing I don't like is Samoa Joe hitting a muscle buster on the ring apron. They got to stop this stuff because, like, look, Joe hit that move on Tyson Kidd and he nearly died. So, like, why risk it? As far as I'm concerned, I don't know why they do this.
It's not necessary. Imagine how it would make Joe feel as well if somebody else gets hurt.
Yeah. Bro, I have to fucking complain about this kangaroo kick.
Mm-hmm.
When he stands there and he's looking at the crowd and he's got his paws out. And he did it twice, and I don't think he even hit the fucking move. He got knocked down both times or whatever, or cut off. I'm just like, stop doing it. You're in a world title match. Why? Oh, the people's elbow. Fuck off. I already know where people are going to go with that. Shut up. Joe works the shoulder. Referee goes down. Here comes another BS finish. Cole having a hard time getting the ring out. I like that bit. Okay, he was taking too long, and that's what ended up getting MJF choked. Right? Did you hear the crowd react when MJF got choked out and Joe was announced the winner? I think they were like, oh, because there was no real suspense with the finish. There was no suspense. They thought he was going to get out of it or something like that. Again, the finish wasn't right.
Yeah.
The goons show up after the match. Joe's a new champion. Cole's consoling MJF. The Devil's goons show up. You know, there's one person, one of them has a chair, I think. And Cole's like, no, hit me. Don't hit him, hit me. And MJF's doing the same thing. And I'm like, you're both going to get hit. If this were real and Cole wasn't the Devil, you're both going to get hit. So what's the difference who gets hit first? Like, oh, it's such a touching moment because, you know, they want to, no. Sorry for nitpicking, but that's how I feel. And I'm like, where's security? Okay, that's not fair. The lights go out. They come back on. They're all standing there. And Cole's on a chair. And I'm like, why isn't Cole wearing the mask? It should have been, the mask should have been on him. MJF's like looking, and he's shocked because there's Wardlow, there's Strong, there's Taven, there's Bennett. And he's like, where's Adam gone? Where's Adam gone? And then he looks back again, and then that's when Cole takes off the mask. But no, you already had it off. Man, you know, it's tiny little details like that that could make something, the presentation or something, way better. I was a little disappointed with what the group was revealed to be, because number one, now Wardlow is just another goon again.
Yeah.
Cole's in a wheelchair, on crutches, sorry. Bennett and Taven haven't really been established too much on AEW programming because they've been mostly used for Ring of Honor, haven't they? And I'm guessing they're the tag team that are the tag team champs. But another thing I wanted to say is, like, I just don't see Adam Cole as this evil guy on this level. He just doesn't come across like that for me. I don't find him to be that guy. I don't see him having a history of being a puppet master and a conniving son of a gun. So it just feels forced for me. Anyway, Juicy Boy, there we have it.
That's right. And
I'm not happy with the show at all. So, Juicy Boy, final thoughts, rating out of 10.
I'm going to give the show literally a 2 out of 10. It was really bad. It was awful. It was just shit. It sucked. I don't know what Tony Khan is thinking. I don't know how he could possibly think that this was the way to repair his already floundering product going this pay-per-view. I don't know what he was thinking with the stupid hat afterwards. I don't know what he was thinking with the Dustin match. There's no good logical reason for any of what we saw on this show, and I'm rating it accordingly.
What can I give this? Okay, I'm going to ignore the pre-show. The first 8-man's not getting a point from me. I'll give Miro and Andrade 1. Sorry to Toni and Riho, but it just didn't work. Swerve and Dustin, no. Jericho's that 8-man tag. No. Julia Hart, Abaddon. Unfortunately, it was too fucked. So no. Christian and Edge 1 point. Moxley and Kingston no. Oh, I'll give him a 3 out of 10. I'll be kind because MJF versus Joe, the match itself was actually quite good, despite me not really be happy with the finish or the reveal. I'll give it a 2.5 out of 10. Too generous with a 3. Anyway, there we go, Juicy Boy. Another fucking AEW pay-per-view that we did not like. Don't know when the next good one's going to come around, but I think this bloke needs to simplify things a little bit more. I don't think he needs so many people on the roster. I think he just needs to go back to basics, stop shoehorning people on the shows, stop having screwy finishes. You can have them every now and then if it's necessary, but it doesn't happen all the fucking time. And we just need the guys to listen to the agents a bit better, I think, because the finishes of the matches aren't coming across the way that they need to. Thanks, Juicy Boy, for your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank all of you out there for joining us here on the WZWA network for our AEW World's End review, which is like around 90 minutes long now. But if you thought this review was too long, so was the pay-per-view. California, Juicy Boy. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Network, that's the way we play. Good God Almighty. Network, that's the way we play. Get puppies. Network, that's the way we play. Get.
The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA network.